Live. Yeah, we live. We live. Yeah. I'm about to share it. You got my logo up there right now. Oh, okay, I see it. I see it. Let me send this to a couple people that we can start. They can't hear me, can they? And welcome to Wise Guys. These guys know sports on this Friday, August the 21st. In the house with your boy Trey Larkins on the Wise Guys Sports Show. Everybody remember going follow Wise Guys on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. Wise Guys Sports is there. Happy to be back here on the Wise Guys Sports Show. I have had such a fun summer. Man, I'm glad to be back. Man, earlier this summer, I got a chance to go to Texas. I went to Dallas, spent some time in Dallas for the 4th of July weekend and had some fun with some family and friends out there. That's my first time being in Dallas, and Dallas is fun. It really, really is fun. It's a great place to go and visit and possibly even move to. I had a ball out there in Dallas this summer. And then yesterday, I got an opportunity to go down to Paycar and watch the Moeller and Princeton game. Big shout out to Princeton head coach Andre Parker and his Princeton Vikings as the Princeton Vikings beat Moeller Crusaders 31-24 yesterday in front of a packed house down at Paycar Stadium yesterday. Yesterday, the Vikings beating the Crusaders. It's the first time the Vikings have beaten the Crusaders since 1991. They have lost 19 straight games to the Crusaders. And so the Princeton Vikings, they are now the new kings of the block. And the King of the Block trophy now is in Princeton, in Sharonville. Vikings played a hell of a game. They had a hell of a fourth quarter. It was a great game overall. In the first half, I thought the Vikings, they had multiple missed opportunities to score points and create some separation. But in the fourth quarter, I felt like Andre Parker and his group, they did a hell of a job creating turnovers, and they ran the football very, very effectively with this kid, Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall was balling yesterday. He was a player of the game for the Princeton Vikings, and he had a great performance. He had 3 touchdowns. He should have had 4 touchdowns, but he dropped a wide open touchdown pass in the second quarter. But he had a hell of a performance. And big shout out to that entire Princeton Vikings varsity football team and their coaching staff, including Andre Parker. Vikings beat the Crusaders for the first time since 1991. First time since 1991. And they snapped a 19-game losing streak to the Crusaders. But, man, high school football is back. St. X, they are in Lakota tonight taking on the Firebirds. So you have the Bombers and the Firebirds tonight in Lakota. It's going to be a big-time matchup in that game. I'm just excited that football is back. I got some football topics I'm going to get to on the show. Everybody remember, go follow Wise Guys on all social media platforms. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports as well. Comment on the video. Give me your thoughts on the topics that I'm going to talk about tonight. Got some NBA stuff I'm going to talk about and dive into. Some NFL football. My thoughts on Justin Herbert. My thoughts on the NFL top 10 quarterback lists. Executive coaches and scouts. They put together a list and they ranked their top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to give my thoughts on that list a little bit later on in the show. Also, the New England Patriots, they won the AFC last season in the NFL. They lost in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to give my predictions for the New England Patriots this upcoming NFL season as well. But, man, great to be back. It was a great summer. But we got a lot to talk about here today on the Wise Guys Sports Show. So let's start off in the NBA, and let's talk about one of the most depressing days of my summer. This was July the 1st as the Boston Celtics traded Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers in the deal. The Celtics, they get back Paul George, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. The Sixers, they get Jaylen Brown in this deal that took place on July 1st, 2026. So my reaction once I found out that the Boston Celtics had traded away all-star guard Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers was, it's been 51 days since the Celtics traded Jaylen Brown to the 76ers. Today is Friday, August the 21st. And this trade is still one of the dumbest trades in NBA history. And when I heard about the Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to the Sixers, my immediate thoughts were former Dallas Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison is somewhere right now smiling, happy, because Brad Stevens now has made one of the dumbest trades in NBA history. And the reason why I brought up Nico Harrison, who was a former general manager for the Dallas Mavericks, was because Nico Harrison was the general manager that decided to trade Luka to the Lakers. And now, by Brad Stevens trading away Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers, that now to me is now, along with the Luka trade to the Lakers, one of the dumbest trades in NBA history. Because when I look at this trade between the Celtics and the Sixers, not only do you trade Jaylen Brown within the conference, you trade Jaylen Brown to an arch rival in the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a Sixers team that just eliminated you in April. The Sixers beat the Celtics in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. They beat the Celtics in 7 games in the first round. So not only did you make the 76ers a favorite in the East, you just helped make the 76ers a favorite in the entire NBA. You trade Jaylen Brown to a team that just beat you in the first round of the NBA playoffs? That makes absolutely no sense. And that tells me that Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics organization, they don't believe Jaylen Brown is a great player. There's no way in hell you could convince me that Brad Stevens and the Celtics organization actually believe that Jaylen Brown is a top 10 player in the NBA and you trade him within the conference to an arch rival. That makes absolutely no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Paul George is 36 years old. Jaylen Brown is 29. So Jaylen Brown is currently in his prime. Paul George, his best days are behind him. I believe his best days were with the Pacers and the Thunder, and he even had a few years in LA where he was still in his prime. But once Paul George got to Philadelphia, to me, Paul George was no longer in his prime as a basketball player. So you get these picks, but none of these picks or Paul George will give you the type of production that Jaylen Brown has given the Boston Celtics in 10 seasons in Boston. I'm looking at a Jaylen Brown. This past season, majority of this season was played without Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown, he averaged 29 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game. All three, that point per game average, that rebound per game average, and assist per game average, all 3 categories were his best since he's been in the NBA this past season. Okay? And Jaylen Brown, he led the Boston Celtics to a number 2 seed in the NBA last season without Jason Tatum. This is Jaylen Brown that we are talking about. And last year, the Boston Celtics, they finished the season 61-21. This is with Jaylen Brown as their number 1 option and their best player on their team without the services of Jason Tatum. And I'm a Jason Tatum fan. Without JT, JB led the Boston Celtics to the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference with a 61-21 record. And you trade an NBA Finals MVP and a player in Jaylen Brown, who's a top 10 player. Let's talk about Jaylen Brown and his accomplishments as a player. He won NBA Finals MVP back in 2024. He's a 5-time NBA All-Star, 2-time NBA second team player, He also won NBA Eastern Conference Finals MVP back in 2024. And Jaylen Brown is one of the best players in the NBA. And you got those people out there who cover the NBA and they talk about analytics. I don't give a damn what the analytics say. Jaylen Brown is a top 10 player in the NBA. He's a top 10 player in the NBA because Jaylen Brown is one of the best two-way players we have in pro basketball. He can give you 25 on any given night. He also can guard the opposing team's best player. We saw it in the NBA Finals. In the 2024 NBA Finals, we saw Jaylen Brown. He didn't completely shut down Luka Doncic, but he contained Luka. Okay? And I believe that's the biggest reason why Jaylen Brown won NBA Finals MVP. Not because of his scoring in the NBA Finals, although he also delivered on the offensive side of the floor as well. But I believe he won NBA Finals MVP because of his defense against Luka Doncic in the 2024 NBA Finals. And you trade away a Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers. And not only do you trade Jaylen Brown and break up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were the best duo in the NBA. This is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum as a duo. They have 11 conference finals appearances together. They have 2 NBA finals appearances together as a duo. They won an NBA championship in 2024. And in that particular finals, Jaylen Brown won NBA Finals MVP. And Jason Tatum led the team in every statistical category in the finals. And to me, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they are a better duo than Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they were a better duo, because I got to speak about it now in past tense. They were a better duo than Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duran. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were a better duo than Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. They also were a better duo than even Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. And you decide to break up this elite duo? And both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are both not even 30 years of age yet? This deal and trade makes absolutely no sense. They asked Jaylen Brown, what was his reaction once he learned that he was being traded from Boston to Philly? Jaylen Brown said that he threw his phone across the room. JB, I'm pretty sure you and other Celtics fans both had that type of reaction once the news broke that you were being traded to Philadelphia, bro. You ain't the only one that threw your phone across the room. I thought I could not believe that they actually, one, I couldn't believe that they actually traded Jaylen Brown. Then to find out that they traded Jaylen Brown within the conference, you're supposed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Sacramento Kings. You're not supposed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers. What the hell are you doing, Brad Stevens? What the hell is going on? What's going on? And then this was the worst part about it. And Brian Windhorst, who does a great job for ESPN, Brian Windhorst, he came out and said that the Celtics, because of the analytics, they believed that Derek White had a better season in 2025 than Jaylen Brown had. Well, let's look at the numbers, shall we? Jaylen Brown averaged 29 points per game. Derek White averaged 17 points per game. Jaylen Brown had more rebounds than Derek White. Jaylen Brown shot better from the floor than Derek White. And Jaylen Brown even shot better from 3-point range than Derek White. And Derek White's I would say he's a better shooter than Jaylen Brown is overall, but Jaylen Brown had a better season shooting from the three than Derek White had in 2025. But somehow the Celtics believe that Derek White had a better season than Jaylen Brown had. Make it make sense for me. Can somebody make it make sense? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. And so overall, in totality, I believe the Boston Celtics traded Jaylen Brown because of Jaylen Brown being a player that's outspoken. Because Jaylen Brown came out after the season and talked about how this was his favorite season. But that doesn't mean that Jaylen Brown didn't enjoy the year where the Celtics won an NBA championship. He was just saying that this was his favorite season. And I think people took that out of context. And I understand how it can be viewed in a negative light, but I just think the Celtics got worse in this trade. Paul George is 36, Jaylen Brown's 29. Paul George, his best days are behind him. Jaylen Brown is still in his NBA prime. This deal makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So, honestly, once I found out about the Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers, I was depressed. I was literally depressed for days because I was thinking to myself, no one right now on the open market or that's available, nobody can be the caliber of player that Jaylen Brown is. How are the Celtics going to replace Jaylen Brown? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think Jason Tatum is still an elite player. And I think Jason Tatum, when he's healthy, I think JT is still a top 10 player in the NBA. But you still need good players. And Jaylen Brown's a good player. It's way more to this I want to get into. I'll get into it at a later time. But those are my thoughts, man. I think Tatum and Brown, they were the best duo in pro basketball. And so now that you bring in a Paul George, I don't believe the Celtics are true championship contenders right now in the East. I think the two best teams right now are the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. But I got more I'm going to get into a little bit later on in the show about this with Jaylen Brown going to Philly. Everybody go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. I'll be right back. And welcome back to Wise Guys. These guys know sports. Everybody remember going to follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. I want to get back into this conversation about the Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers. And the thing is, when it comes to the Boston Celtics and their relationship with Jaylen Brown, I want to be very clear. I do believe Jason Tatum is a better all-around player than Jaylen Brown is, but the way that the Boston Celtics organization has prioritized Jason Tatum, it has come at the expense and at disrespecting Jaylen Brown on the flip side. Like, I believe Tatum's better than Brown, but not significantly. Because I look at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum as players, right? This is in the regular season. Tatum has played in 601 regular season games. Brown has played in 674 regular season games. Okay, Tatum, he has more total points, assists, rebounds, blocks, and so total points, assists, and rebounds, he has more than Jaylen Brown has. But Jaylen Brown shoots better from the floor than Tatum. Jaylen Brown also has more steals than Tatum. And I say all that to say, again, I think Tatum's a better player than Brown is, but the way that the Celtics have disrespected Jaylen Brown, they move as if this is a situation similar to what the Lakers had when the Lakers had the late great Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. We knew that Lakers team, when those Lakers teams won championships, we knew Kobe Bryant was the best player on those Lakers teams. And we knew that it was Kobe's team. When it comes to the Celtics, there are times where I watch games, and even though I believe Jason Tatum is a better overall player than Jaylen Brown is, there are times where I have witnessed Jaylen Brown come out in games and he's more aggressive than Jason Tatum is. And sometimes it takes Jason Tatum a while to get into his rhythm and to get into the flow of games. Jaylen Brown, he comes out the gate aggressive and he has that aggressive mentality. Tatum, sometimes you have to pull that aggressiveness out of him. And so it's like they are treating Jason Tatum like the Lakers treated Kobe, which was justified because Kobe was a far and clear better player than Gasol was. They're treating Tatum like the Lakers treated Kobe over Gasol. And that makes no sense to me. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are more equivalent to Kobe and Shaq in their primes when the Lakers three-peated in the early 2000s. Now, I know Shaq won finals MVP in all three of those finals appearances for the Lakers, but Kobe did his part. Okay, make no mistake about it. Kobe was balling when the Lakers had that three-peat in the Kobe Shaq era. It was much closer than people think. It wasn't a significant gap between Shaq and Kobe. And I don't believe there's a significant gap between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But the Celtics have treated Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown like there's a significant gap between the two players, and that's simply not the case. It's not the case. And I'm looking at a Jaylen Brown. For his career, Jaylen Brown, he averages 20 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, right? Here are some of his accomplishments and accolades. Jaylen Brown's He won an NBA championship in 2024. He was the NBA Finals MVP in 2024. He's a 5-time NBA All-Star, 2-time All-NBA second-team player. He won NBA Eastern Conference Finals MVP in 2024. And so Jaylen Brown is one of the best players in the NBA. He's one of the best two-way players in pro basketball. He's a top 10 player in the NBA. And I also believe Jason Tatum, when he's healthy, is also a top 10 player in the NBA. And I love Jason Tatum, but the Celtics treat Jason Tatum as if Tatum is Giannis or Jokic or SGA. And I love JT. He's simply not on that level yet. He's not on that level yet. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if he ever will be, but he doesn't have to be because he's always had Jaylen Brown to depend on. But if Tatum is as great as the Celtics think he is, we got to see now. We got to see JT be able to carry the Celtics. We have to see JT be able to carry the Celtics. I believe he can. I believe Jason Tatum is a top 5 player, maybe top 7 player in the NBA. But I do believe players like Giannis, SGA, Jokic, to me, they are players that you can say at one point or another were considered the best players in the NBA. I've never considered Jason Tatum the best player in pro basketball. I think he's been top 5, but not the best player in pro basketball. Giannis, Jokic, and SGA at one point or another have all been considered the best players in the NBA. So I just don't like the way the Celtics have treated Jaylen Brown overall. And I believe the Celtics have underappreciated and undervalued Jaylen Brown. But I also believe that one of the biggest reasons as well why the Celtics have prioritized Tatum over Brown is the Celtics, they don't like Jaylen Brown's approach or demeanor. Let me explain and dive more into this. Jaylen Brown is very outspoken. He does a lot for the Black community, and he speaks up when necessary. And you don't have to necessarily ask him to speak up. Jaylen Brown speaks up for himself, and overall, in totality, is one of the people that I respect in the Black community in sports that has a voice that I respect. Like when Jaylen Brown speaks, I listen. Okay? When he speaks, I listen. The brother is very, very, very educated, and he knows what he's talking about. And he's outside. On the flip side, Jason Tatum is more laid back, more reserved. Okay? He's a family man. He dates Ella May. And so he's more of a chilled, reserved, laid back kind of person. He shows up to the gym, hoops, and goes home. Okay. You see Jaylen Brown, he shows up, he hoops, and then afterwards he goes and he streams and talks on his podcast that he has when he talks about multiple different things. So they are both two completely different people that had a great working relationship. But I think the Celtics organization, they prioritized Jason Tatum over Jaylen Brown because they did not like how Jaylen Brown speaks up about different issues that happens, whether it's in sports, whether it's in our culture, or in politics. Jaylen Brown is outspoken, and Jason Tatum is more laid back and more chilled and reserved. Like Jason Tatum reminds me more of Kevin Durant. Like Kevin Durant just wants to show up and hoop. He doesn't care about any of the extra curricular that comes with being an NBA star. He just wants to show up and hoop. Jaylen Brown to me is more like LeBron as far as like a person. Like he's outspoken. He speaks up about issues and culture and sports and in politics. And I think him being outspoken like he is, I believe that's the biggest reason why Tatum is more prioritized within the Boston Celtics organization and just more prioritized overall in general. I see multiple commercials with Jason Tatum, but we don't see a lot of commercials with Jaylen Brown, if any at all. And then even with Team USA, right? They had Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Derek White, but no Jaylen Brown. You mean to tell me you got 3 Boston Celtics players and not one of them are Jaylen Brown? That was absolutely ridiculous. But we know why. Jaylen Brown is outspoken like Kyrie Irving is outspoken. Kyrie Irving also was not a part of the Team USA. They don't like how Kyrie Irving moved. So that's also why I believe Jaylen Brown doesn't have the endorsements that Jason Tatum has or have the organization prioritize him the way that they prioritize Jason Tatum. That's simple as that. But also, too, and I realized this afterwards because they asked Jaylen Brown in his first press conference with the Sixers, they asked him, had he spoken to Jason Tatum since he got traded? And Jaylen Brown simply said, not really. And after he got traded, Tatum posted on his story about Jaylen Brown, but it told me that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum did not have the type of relationship that I thought they had. Like they were more so players who worked great together and they had a great working relationship, but they weren't friends outside of the Boston Celtics facility. I mean, they were cool. That doesn't mean that you dislike a person. You can have someone that you work with, but outside of work, you don't really speak to them as much. Like Tatum and Brown had a great working relationship together on the floor, but outside of basketball, they didn't really have much of a relationship. So I was surprised about that because I thought Tatum and Brown were much closer and friends more so than just teammates. But afterwards, it seemed like they were just teammates. After seeing how it went down after he got traded, for Jaylen Brown not to hear from Jason Tatum after being traded, that means a lot. That means a lot. Hell, I just saw AJ Brown walk up to Jalen Hurts after one of those joint practices between the Eagles and the Patriots. And at least AJ Brown acknowledged Jalen Hurts. It's going to be interesting to see how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if they embrace one another when the Sixers and Celtics match up against one another in the regular season. That's going to be interesting. But those are my thoughts on that situation with Jaylen Brown, Celtics, Sixers. I'll be right back here in a bit. Welcome back to Wise Guys. These guys know sports. Here live on the Wise Guys Sports Show. Everybody remember going to follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. Let's go to Philly and let's talk about LeBron James joining the Philadelphia 76ers. It's been a while since I've been here. So I've been on summer vacation. So we're going to pretend like this is breaking news here live into the Wise Guys Sports Studios. And as Shams is reporting that LeBron James is signing a 2-year, $8 million deal with a player option. Clutch Sports Group and Clutch CEO and Game Over show host Rich Paul tells ESPN. So it's a 2-year, $8 million deal for LeBron James. He is heading to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Here's LeBron James after announcing his decision to sign with the Sixers. Quote, "This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What I'm really playing for at this point. I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete, to win, and to have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship." Those were LeBron James' comments on X after he announced that he will be signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. So, my immediate reaction to LeBron James signing with the Philadelphia 76ers was winning is still LeBron James' #1 priority. It's not family or money. It's winning and capturing another NBA championship and putting himself in a position to win championship #5. And the Philadelphia 76ers, they give LeBron James the best opportunity to capture championship #5. Because when I look at the other teams that were interested in LeBron, I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors. It would have been fascinating to see LeBron paired up with Steph Curry. I would have loved to see that with LeBron, Steph, and Draymond and Golden State. But I don't think the Warriors, by adding LeBron, I don't think that would have made them championship contenders in the Western Conference. The Timberwolves, I would have loved to see that too. That would have been exciting. LeBron, Ant-Man, that would have been nice to see as well. They would have had, obviously, they still would have had Rudy Gobert on that team as well. I'm not sure if Ball would have been able, they would have been able to trade for Ball. I'm not sure, but that would have been interesting to see. In the East, I don't like the fit of LeBron in Cleveland with James Harden. I don't think LeBron and Harden would have been able to mesh well or play well together, but it would have been exciting from the standpoint of him going back home. But on the court, I don't think LeBron and Harden fit well together. Miami would have been interesting as well because that big trio and big three of LeBron, Giannis, and Bam Adebayo, that would have been a nice trio, but they would have needed more perimeter shooting, and that's something that they simply don't have. Now, I heard earlier today the Heat, they did, in fact, sign Klay Thompson. So Klay Thompson will join the Miami Heat at some point here soon, but they would have needed much more perimeter shooting to be true contenders overall in the Eastern Conference and overall in the NBA. So to me, by LeBron choosing to go to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, I believe that gives him the best opportunity to win another championship. Because I'm looking at this Sixers potential starting five. You got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. That is the best starting five in pro basketball. It's the best starting five in pro basketball. Tyrese Maxey is a skilled point guard who's an elite scorer. The man averaged 28 points per game last season. Okay. VJ Edgecombe was balling last year as a rookie. I think he finished third overall in NBA Rookie of the Year voting. So he was balling last year. You bring in Jaylen Brown. We know what Jaylen Brown represents. Okay. He's a finals MVP. He averaged 29 points per game last season, led the Boston Celtics to a 61-21 record and the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference last season. We know how great of a player Jaylen Brown is. And then you have Joel Embiid, who averaged 27 points per game last year. And when he's healthy, Joel Embiid is one of the best big men in the NBA. And so this 76ers starting five, they are the best starting five in the NBA. So I believe LeBron choosing to sign with the Sixers tells me that winning is still his number one priority. The second thing that it told me was LeBron, he cares about his legacy when it comes to the GOAT conversation. And to me, his best argument for being the GOAT is the longevity argument that he's already won. He's won that argument over Jordan. But his other argument in the GOAT conversation / debate is if LeBron won an NBA championship with the Philadelphia 76ers, it would be their first championship in 43 years for the Sixers, and LeBron would become the first player in NBA history to win a championship with 4 different franchises. 4 different franchises. And then, again, they would win a championship. That would be, they haven't won one since in 43 years. Remember, he won a championship with the Lakers in 2020. Prior to that, the Lakers hadn't won an NBA championship since 2010. And then with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they broke that huge streak of them never winning an NBA championship since they've been a franchise. So those are 2 big arguments for LeBron in the GOAT conversation, the longevity argument, and also he would be the first player in NBA history to win a championship with 4 different franchises. So whether or not you believe LeBron James is the GOAT or not, I believe it's something that LeBron James cares about. And his 2 best arguments are the longevity argument and the fact that he will become the first player, if he wins a championship with the Sixers, the first player in NBA history to win a championship with 4 different franchises. So that's another point that I wanted to make when I saw that LeBron James had signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, as far as the fit in Philly, it's going to be interesting because the thing is with LeBron, if he were to win a championship with this Sixers team, I don't know if he would be the best player on this Sixers team, but I also can't really say definitively that he wouldn't be the best player on the Sixers team. Okay, so it's like with that Heat team, that Cavs team, and that Lakers team, and all 4 of LeBron championship seasons, and when he won championships with the Heat, Cavs, and Lakers, he was the clear-cut best player on those teams. I love D-Wade when LeBron was in Miami, but D-Wade was out of his prime, and LeBron was the clear-cut best player on those Heat championship teams. Even in Cleveland, I love Kyrie Irving. I am a Kyrie Irving fan. I think Kyrie Irving is the best finisher in NBA history under 6'4". But LeBron James was the clear-cut best player on that Cavs team that won it in 2016. And then even in Los Angeles with the Lakers, the COVID bubble championship in 2020. Anthony Davis is a great rim protector and he's one of the best defensive players in the NBA. LeBron was the clear best player on that Lakers team that won an NBA championship in 2020. I honestly feel like that was LeBron's last season in his prime. That year when the Lakers won the bubble championship in 2020. But on this Sixers team, it's going to be interesting because you can make a legitimate argument for Tyrese Maxey being their best player, Jaylen Brown being their best player, because Jaylen Brown is a great two-way player in the NBA. And although it's rare, if Joel Embiid is healthy and in the lineup, Joel Embiid is arguably the best big man in the game. Like Joel Embiid, when he's healthy, Joel Embiid deserves to be in that conversation with Jokic. We have seen Joel Embiid at his best win an NBA MVP. So when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers and whether or not LeBron James, if they were to win an NBA championship, I don't know if he would be the best player, but I can't say definitively that he wouldn't be the best player because LeBron James, even at his age now, I believe LeBron James and his versatility as a player is something that teams value. Like, let's just say this season, Joel Embiid, which we already know what's going to happen, Embiid's out for a significant amount of games. You can have LeBron play the 5 and guard some centers currently in the NBA. That's the thing about LeBron. Like, LeBron is a great all-around player. And he's able to adjust as well. LeBron doesn't need the basketball in his hands to score 20 points. We saw that last year on the Lakers. Last year on the Lakers, LeBron James, he was the Lakers' third scoring option. It was Luka and then Austin Reeves. And I thought LeBron did a great job transitioning from being a ball dominant player to still being an effective player on the Lakers team last year. LeBron James, prior to Luka and Reeves getting injured, he was the third scoring option. And he did a hell of a job transitioning from that first or second option to the third option and playing his role perfectly. So I believe on this Sixers team, there's going to be nights where Jaylen Brown's going to have great scoring nights. Tyrese Maxey will have great scoring nights. And even Edgecombe will have some great scoring nights. And we know what Embiid brings to the table. And so LeBron doesn't have to be ball dominant for the Sixers to be effective as a basketball team. And so LeBron's versatility, to me, is his best trait as a basketball player at this juncture of his career. And so it's going to be interesting. I think right now, the Philadelphia 76ers are a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference right now. And right now, it's the Knicks and the Sixers. Those are the 2 best teams right now in the Eastern Conference. And right now, overall, in the landscape of the NBA, I would say the favorites to win the NBA title next season are the San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the New York Knicks, who are the defending NBA champions, and the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, this starting lineup with Maxey, Edgecombe, Brown, James, and Embiid, it's the best starting 5 in pro basketball. It's the best starting 5 in the NBA. And so it's clear that LeBron is still trying to win championship number 5. And if Embiid, that's a big if. That's a big if. If Embiid's healthy in April, May, and June, the Sixers have a chance to win their first NBA championship in 43 years. Those are my thoughts on LeBron James signing with the Sixers. It's a 2-year, $8 million deal for LeBron in Philly. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. I'll be right back. And welcome back to Wise Guys. These guys know sports. And remember, go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. Let's go to the NFL and let's talk about this top 10 quarterback list that I've been dying to talk about and discuss as NFL executive coaches and scouts. They came out with their top 10 quarterback rankings heading into the 2026 NFL season. And here are their top 10 quarterbacks. Coming in at number 10 is Caleb Williams, 9, Jared Goff, 8, Drake May, 7, Justin Herbert, 6, Dak Prescott, 5, Lamar Jackson, 4, Joe Burrow, 3, Matthew Stafford, 2, Patrick Mahomes, and number 1, Josh Allen. So those are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, according to executive scouts and coaches heading into the 2026 NFL season. So my number one issue with this top 10 quarterback list is how the hell do you have Matthew Stafford, who's fresh off of an NFL MVP, ranked as the third best quarterback in the NFL, and you have Josh Allen as the best quarterback in the NFL? That makes absolutely no sense. Let's look at Matthew Stafford and the type of season that he had last year. Last season, Matthew Stafford, 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,707 passing yards. He completed 65% of his passes. He also led the LA Rams to the NFC title game, and he won NFL MVP. And to me, last year, Stafford was the best quarterback when it comes to just pure pocket passer. There was no better quarterback in 2025 than Matthew Stafford. Nobody else. Nobody else threw from the pocket last season the way that Stafford threw the football from the pocket. He won the NFL MVP award, for crying out loud. So how the hell was Josh Allen ranked above Matthew Stafford? Stafford had a better season in 2025 than Josh Allen had. And the thing is, when it comes to Josh Allen, I know how great of a quarterback and how great of a player Josh Allen is, okay? Since Josh Allen has been the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills have been contenders in the AFC and in the AFC East. Since he's been their quarterback, they've been contenders. Josh Allen also has won an NFL MVP award as well. And Josh Allen probably has been the most consistent when it comes to the 5 best quarterbacks. I'm talking about Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, Stafford, and Josh Allen himself. Josh Allen's probably been the most consistent after Patrick Mahomes. But when I look at Josh Allen, you got to look at his playoff performance last season when the Buffalo Bills rolled into Denver in the divisional round playoff matchup. And Bo Nix, who's not a top 10 quarterback in my eyes, Bo Nix outplayed Josh Allen in primetime in that Broncos playoff win in the divisional round of the playoffs last year between the Bills and the Broncos. Bo Nix outplayed Josh Allen. And what's crazy is last season in the AFC, heading into the playoffs, there was no Patrick Mahomes. There was no Lamar Jackson. there was no Joe Burrow that Josh Allen had to worry about. Josh Allen was the clear-cut best quarterback in the AFC playoffs last year. And he allowed Bo Nix to outplay him in the divisional round playoff loss. And the thing is, I say it all the time when it comes to quarterbacks. It's not always about whether or not you won or lost the game. It's how you performed. Last year in that playoff game, Josh Allen had multiple turnovers in that playoff loss to the Broncos. He had multiple turnovers in that game. Multiple. And Bo Nix significantly outplayed Josh Allen. So how the hell could you rank Josh Allen above Matthew Stafford when Matthew Stafford led his Rams team to the conference championship and went toe-to-toe with Sam Darnold? And Sam Darnold played great in that game. But the Rams didn't lose that game because of Matthew Stafford. Hell, the reason why they were even in that game was because of the greatness of Matthew Stafford. But the Bills, they lost their playoff game against the Broncos. They lost that game because of Josh Allen. So I just don't understand how you can rank Josh Allen as the number one quarterback heading into the 2026 NFL season. It just makes no sense to me overall. Now, my other issue that I had with the top 10 lists is, where the hell is Jordan Love? How is Jordan Love not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? I'm looking at a Jordan Love. Last season, Jordan Love, he had 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,381 passing yards, completing 66% of his passes, right? But when you look at Jordan Love, I'm looking at the players that they have ranked above Jordan Love, okay? Dak Prescott at number 6, Justin Herbert at number 7, Drake May at number 8, Jared Goff at number 9, and Caleb Williams at number 10. Jordan Love right now, he is a better player at the quarterback position than Dak Prescott, than Justin Herbert, than Drake May, than Jared Goff, and Caleb Williams. All 5 of these quarterbacks that they have ranked 6 through 10, Jordan Love is a better quarterback than. Well, Trey, how is Jordan Love better than these quarterbacks? Let's talk about it. A few years ago, I saw Jordan Love roll into Dallas, and Jordan Love hung 48 on Dak's head, and Jordan Love significantly outplayed Dak Prescott in that Packers-Cowboys playoff game, and the Packers dominated the Cowboys start to finish because of Jordan Love. Also, Dak Prescott hasn't been back to the playoffs since Jordan Love beat him a few years ago in the playoffs. And Jordan Love's been in the playoffs each of his 3 seasons as starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Let's go to Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is 0-3 in the postseason. And when you look at those games and watch Justin Herbert and his performances in those Chargers playoff games, the Chargers, they lose playoff games because of Justin Herbert. Okay? Last year, in the Packers playoff loss against the Bears, there is no way in hell you can convince me that the Packers lost that playoff game because of Jordan Love. I believe the Bears beat the Packers 31-27 in that playoff game. And Jordan Love outplayed Caleb Williams in that game. I was going to get to Caleb in a minute, but I couldn't help myself. Damn it, the Bears are our arch rivals. I couldn't help myself but talk about Caleb Williams because Jordan Love, in every metric from a stat standpoint, was better than Caleb Williams was last year. And Jordan Love outplayed Caleb Williams despite the Bears beating the Packers in that playoff game last year. That's why I say I don't have a problem with wins and losses being a quarterback stat, but you have to actually watch the games. And there is nobody who actually has a high football IQ who watched that Packers Bears playoff game that can convince me that Caleb Williams outplayed Jordan Love, because that's simply not the case. Yes, Caleb and the Bears beat Jordan Love and the Packers, but Jordan Love outplayed Caleb in that game. In that playoff game, Jordan Love, I believe he went 24 for 46, 323 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and played absolutely sensational at the quarterback position for the Green Bay Packers. But the Packers lost that game. So I also believe Jordan Love's a better quarterback than Caleb. I mentioned Dak earlier. Jordan Love smoked Dak in the playoffs 3 years ago. Okay, let's go to Drake May. Drake May had a terrific sophomore season at the quarterback position for the New England Patriots. But if you look at Drake May and his regular season numbers compared to his playoff numbers, there was a significant dip, and his production wasn't as high in the postseason as it was in the regular season. And also, the Patriots had the easiest schedule since like the 1999 LA or the Rams. So I thought Drake May had a terrific sophomore season leading the Patriots to the Super Bowl, but Jordan Love's a more proven quarterback than Drake May is. I mentioned Herbert earlier, right? Herbert, in his playoff performances, he's awful. He's awful. And I believe over the last 2 seasons, Jordan Love's been a better quarterback at the position than Justin Herbert has been. Now, I know Justin Herbert had a great first 3 years of his career, but over the last 3 seasons, from a stat standpoint, Herbert's numbers have dropped a little bit. And I believe even though Jordan Love is 1-3 in the playoffs, Jordan Love is a better playoff performer than Justin Herbert is. Let's go to Jared Goff. Now, he's the one player who I don't mind being in the top 10 quarterback rankings, but I still would take Jordan Love slightly over Jared Goff because I believe Jordan Love is more mobile than Jared Goff is. Last season, Jordan Love swept Jared Goff in their 2 head-to-head matchups, okay? So I do like Jared Goff, and I believe you can win with Jared Goff at the quarterback position, but I'm taking Jordan Love over Jared Goff simply because of his mobility. And the last 2 times I saw Jordan Love against Jared Goff, Jordan Love outplayed Jared Goff. So those 5 quarterbacks that they have 6 through 10, I believe Jordan Love is an overall better quarterback. Okay? So I want to also talk about my top 10 quarterback list, right? And this is no specific order. Well, I'll do it in order. Here's my top 10 quarterbacks right now heading into the 2026 NFL season. I'm going to talk about the players that I actually will replace in on the list, right? I'm going to replace and take out Justin Herbert, Drake May, and Caleb Williams. I'm replacing Justin Herbert, Drake May, and Caleb Williams with Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy. Now, let me give y'all my top 10 list, okay? Let me say this again. I am taking out, this is the NFL executive coaches and scouts. They had their top 10 quarterback list, okay? Josh Allen, number 1, Mahomes, 2, Stafford, 3, Burrow, 4, Lamar, 5, Dak Prescott, 6, Justin Herbert, 7, Drake May, 8, Jared Goff, 9, and Caleb Williams, 10, right? I am removing Justin Herbert, Drake May, and Caleb Williams. So I don't have an issue with Dak Prescott or Jared Goff being on a top 10 list. And I am removing those three for Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy. So here's my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2026 NFL season. Number 1, Matthew Stafford. Number 2, and I struggled with this one. I went back and forth. I'm going to say Josh Allen, only because Patrick Mahomes got injured last year. Because I have a hard time ranking Josh Allen above Patrick Mahomes when Josh Allen never beats Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. I struggle with that. But considering we don't know the caliber of player Patrick Mahomes will be fresh off of an ACL injury, and like the last 2 seasons, Mahomes has kind of struggled. But we know how great Patrick Mahomes can be, and we've seen him win at the highest level. But I'll give Josh Allen a slight edge over Patrick Mahomes. So I got Stafford 1, Josh Allen 2. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. I can't rank Lamar or Burrow over Mahomes yet because neither Lamar or Burrow have won a Super Bowl. And I do believe Josh Allen has played at a higher level than Joe Burrow has consistently. And Josh Allen is not as injury prone as Joe Burrow is. And I'm only talking about this because I think Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, all three, you can make a legitimate argument for all three of those players being right behind Patrick Mahomes, right? But I'm going to roll with Lamar at 4, Burrow at 5, Jordan Love 6, Jared Goff at 7, Dak Prescott 8, Baker Mayfield 9, and Brock Purdy at number 10. So here's my list again. Matthew Stafford, number 1, Josh Allen, number 2, Patrick Mahomes, number 3, Lamar Jackson, number 4, Joe Burrow, number 5, Jordan Love, number 6, Jared Goff at number 7, Dak Prescott, number 8, Baker Mayfield, number 9, and Brock Purdy at number 10. Those are my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2026 NFL season. But for me, it's just when I look at, I think Stafford had the best season in 2025. That's why I'm ranking him as the best quarterback in the NFL. But when it comes to Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Jackson, Mahomes, he's won multiple Super Bowls. He has multiple MVPs on his resume. So obviously you give Mahomes the edge over Allen, Lamar, and Burrow. But when it comes to Allen, Lamar, and Burrow, there's a legitimate argument for all three quarterbacks to be considered right behind Mahomes. Like Burrow's argument is the Bengals and Joe Burrow, they beat Mahomes, and Burrow has a Super Bowl appearance on his resume, something Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson do not have, right? Lamar's argument is Lamar is a 2-time NFL MVP. So he's got 2 NFL MVPs on his resume. So Lamar's argument is he has the accomplishments / accolades. And to me, Josh Allen's argument is I think Josh Allen has had to do more with less. Like Lamar has Derrick Henry. Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Last year, Josh Allen, besides James Cook, who was significant on that Bills offense? Who? So I think Josh Allen does more with less in some type of way than Lamar and Joe. But Joe Burrow, his weapons are great, and Chase and Higgins. So that's how I look at it. But man, it's a great topic, man. But again, I think my biggest issues with this top 10 list with the executive coaches and scouts is why in the hell was Matthew Stafford not number 1? And why is Jordan Love not a top 10 quarterback? I think Jordan Love's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Drake May, Jared Goff, and Caleb Williams. But those are my thoughts on the top 10 list by executive couches and scouts. Talk about that more on shows to come. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Be right back. And welcome back to Wise Guys. These guys know sports here on the Wise Guys Sports Show. Remember, go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. Let's go out to LA and let's talk about Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. So it's the preseason right now in the NFL. And so as a sports analyst, I really don't have really much to talk about, but I really enjoy talking about these top 10 quarterback lists and top 10 running back and top 10 wide receiver lists and stuff like that. And so there's lists that come out prior to the season on quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and so forth. And so I really enjoy talking about these rankings and these lists that come out. And one of the things that I found that was very interesting is Justin Herbert. So in 2023, this is prior to the 2023 season, Chris Sims, he listed his top 40 quarterbacks in the NFL, and he had Justin Herbert as the fourth best quarterback in the NFL entering the 2023 NFL season. And there was a list that I spoke about earlier with the executive coaches and scouts that came out with their top 10 lists, and they had Justin Herbert ranked as the seventh best quarterback in the NFL. And Fox Sports, they came out with their top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and they had Justin Herbert ranked as the fifth best quarterback in the NFL. And heading into the season, Herbert is tied for the fourth best MVP odds. He's at a plus 1,000. So he is tied for fourth in the MVP odds heading into the season. So when it comes to Justin Herbert is the most overhyped and overrated quarterback in the NFL. I get sick and tired each and every time I see one of these lists or rankings at the quarterback position, and these executive scouts, coaches, Fox Sports, Chris Sims, they got Justin Herbert ranked as a top 10 quarterback, and some of the lists, they have Justin Herbert ranked as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And I was actually listening to a podcast a couple days ago. It's called the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Jim Harbaugh, who is the head coach of the LA Chargers, he is Herbert's head coach. He was on there talking about Justin Herbert. And here's Harbaugh's quote on his quarterback. I think he's the best there ever was. That is Jim Harbaugh on what makes Justin Herbert the best to ever play the quarterback position. And I saw that quote from Jim Harbaugh, and I literally fell off my couch at home. I fell off my couch at home because I could not believe that Jim Harbaugh, a coach that I respect, had the audacity, the nerve to mention Justin Herbert being the best there ever was. And this dude, Justin Herbert, hasn't even sniffed a playoff win. And not only is Jim Harbaugh supporting Justin Herbert and speaking about Justin Herbert as if he's this great quarterback, other NFL analysts and individuals who put together these lists, they also believe Justin Herbert's a top 10 or top 5 quarterback, depending on who you ask, in the NFL. And it's absolutely insane because I'm looking at a Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, he's entering his 7th season as the starting quarterback of the LA Chargers. And he is winless in the postseason. He is winless. They wanted to blame Anthony Lynn and Brandon Staley for Justin Herbert's shortcomings. And the thing is, when Anthony Lynn and Brandon Staley, when they were the coaches of the LA Chargers, right, during their tenure as head coaches of the LA Chargers, during the Brandon Staley era, this was Justin Herbert's first playoff game, right? Justin Herbert, in this playoff game, he blew a 27-point lead to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I remember watching that game. And in the first half, Justin Herbert, he really didn't do much to help the Chargers put together that 27-point performance. Like, they were up 27-0 over the Jags. The defense had created multiple turnovers, but Herbert wasn't doing much. But you can't allow Trevor Lawrence to outplay you in the second half and lose a playoff game in which you were up 27-0. Think about that for a second. Justin Herbert was up 27-0 over Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars overcame a 27-point deficit and beat Justin Herbert in the 2022 NFL playoffs. Let's go to 2024. This particular year, Jim Harbaugh is now the head coach of the LA Chargers. In 2024, this time with Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert got outplayed by C.J. Stroud. We see how C.J. Stroud regressed in the 2025 season. We know C.J. Stroud won Rookie of the Year, but in the 2025 season, C.J. Stroud regressed as a quarterback. In that 2024 playoff game, C.J. Stroud outplayed Justin Herbert. And in that playoff game, in that playoff loss for the Chargers, Justin Herbert threw not one, not two, not three, but four interceptions in that 32-12 wild card loss in Houston. So he got outplayed by C.J. Stroud in that game. Let's go to 2025, shall we? In 2025, with Jim Harbaugh as his head coach, Justin Herbert lost that playoff game 16-3, and the Patriots beat the Chargers in Foxborough in that wild card round. And in that playoff loss, Justin Herbert couldn't even put together one touchdown drive for the LA Chargers. Couldn't even put together one touchdown drive for the LA Chargers. So we have seen in the postseason, we have seen Justin Herbert's shortcomings in the playoffs. But somehow I'm supposed to believe that Justin Herbert's a top 10 or top 5 quarterback in the NFL? Come on, man. Come on, man. Like this is why I say quarterbacks like Jordan Love, he's a better player than Justin Herbert right now. But I believe that Justin Herbert is the most overhyped and overrated quarterback in the NFL. This dude has been awful in the postseason. He is a consistent playoff choke artist. Now I'm looking at Justin Herbert's career. For his career, 163 touchdowns, 58 interceptions, 24,820 passing yards, completing 67% of his passes. Yes, Justin Herbert has great arm strength at the quarterback position. Yes, Justin Herbert can make the throws at all 3 levels of the football field. And Justin Herbert has great mobility. But at some point in time, your playoff resume has to matter. Your playoff resume has to matter. And this is why I have quarterbacks like Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy. And I'm not saying that these quarterbacks I'm naming have been outstanding in the postseason, but I have at least seen Dak, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. I've seen them win playoff games at one point in time. I have never seen Justin Herbert, and not only win a playoff game, I've never witnessed the Chargers lose a playoff game and Justin Herbert not be the reason why they lost that particular playoff game. And that's why I can't say that Justin Herbert's a top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL. Herbert has the skill set to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But when you combine his playoff resume with his performances overall in totality, I can't say he's a top 10 quarterback. And again, for years, everybody told me, well, he doesn't have a real NFL head coach. Anthony Lynn was to blame. Then it was Brandon Staley. And now he has Jim Harbaugh. And in his last 2 postseason performances, Justin Herbert has gotten outplayed by C.J. Stroud and Drake May. And in one of those playoff performances against Stroud, Herbert threw 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. And they lost that playoff game 32-12 in Houston. Last year, Chargers. I know they didn't have their 2 offensive tackles in Alt and in Slater, but you can't go scoreless in a playoff game and be considered a top-tier quarterback in the NFL. He couldn't even put together one touchdown drive. That's inexcusable. I'm not saying he had to beat the Patriots in that playoff game, but it's inexcusable for Justin Herbert, a player of his caliber, who y'all tell me is a top 10 quarterback, to not put together at least one touchdown drive. And then the playoff loss against Trevor Lawrence was absolutely ridiculous. I don't even consider Trevor Lawrence a top 10 quarterback. Hell, I don't even consider him a top 12 quarterback. He's an average quarterback. And in that game, Justin Herbert got outplayed by Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, I think he had 4 interceptions in that game, but he also had 4 touchdowns. And Trevor Lawrence, He was the reason why the Jaguars were losing that game, but he also was the reason why the Jaguars ultimately won that game. Herbert had a 27-point lead at one point in that playoff loss against Trevor Lawrence. You mean to tell me a quarterback that's a top 5 or top 10 quarterback in the NFL can't deliver, and his defense gives him a 27-point lead? That's inexcusable if you're Justin Herbert. And so, no, I do not believe Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I would probably take Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert right now. So I would probably take even Drake May over Justin Herbert right now. And I know Justin Herbert has proven more than Drake May has, but at least Drake May led the Patriots to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Drake May will be better than Justin Herbert. I don't know about that, but Herbert's playoff performance has been so abysmal. His performance has been so bad. You have to knock him. You got to knock him, and he can't be a top 10 quarterback. Seriously, he can't be a top 10 quarterback. We keep hearing excuses after excuses. I've never seen a quarterback get so many passes and excuses the way that Justin Herbert gets. There are people that actually believe that Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Now, I said at one point in time, a few years ago, that Herbert was a better quarterback than Burrow. But that was before Burrow led the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance, and Burrow, and seeing the way Burrow has balled out over the last couple of years. Herbert has been pathetic in the postseason. His playoff performances are abysmal. And he has one of the best coaches in pro football now as his head coach. So there is no more excuses for Justin Herbert. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Be right back. Let's stay in the NFL. Let's go to the AFC East and let's talk about the New England Patriots. As the Patriots, they won the AFC East last season. They finished the season 14-3, and they reached the Super Bowl. And the Seahawks, they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl 29-13. And in the NFL, it's interesting because we always talk about after a team wins the Super Bowl, we always talk about how a team would perform the following season, defending their Super Bowl championship. But we don't really talk enough about the team that lost that Super Bowl the year prior. And usually the team that loses the Super Bowl, normally they regress the following season. We saw it a couple years ago. Chiefs, they get blown out in the Super Bowl by the Eagles. The Eagles blew them off the field that game. Eagles beat the Chiefs 40-22. Chiefs, they struggled last season, didn't make the playoffs. Mahomes gets injured, season over for the Chiefs, right? So I believe we are trending towards a similar fate for the New England Patriots in the 2026 NFL season, because I believe that the New England Patriots, they were significantly overrated last season. I'm looking at the New England Patriots, and the New England Patriots, when you look at them overall as a team last year, it was the easiest overall schedule by any NFL team since the 1999 St. Louis Rams. Statistically, it tied for the third easiest strength of schedule recorded in the last 50 seasons. Also, let's look at their path to the Super Bowl. In the wild card round, they beat a Chargers team without their starting two offensive tackles in Joel Alt and Rashawn Slater. In the divisional round, they beat a Texans team without their top two targets in Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz. And CJ Stroud played awful in that playoff game. In the AFC Championship game, they faced a Broncos team without the services of their starting quarterback in Bo Nix. And in the second half of the AFC Championship game, it was a blizzard. It was a blizzard. And so when I look at the New England Patriots from last season, I believe they are the team that will regress this particular season. And I know they made some offseason moves that I like. They traded for AJ Brown. I love that for Drake May because I believe I believe that was the one weakness that the Patriots had last year offensively. They didn't really have a true number one receiver. You now have that with AJ Brown. Make no mistake about it. AJ Brown is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. And so I love the fact that the Patriots made a big time move trading for AJ Brown. And now AJ Brown is paired with Drake May. And so Drake May has a number one receiver to throw the football to. And I do love their head coach as well. I think Mike Vrabel is a great, and I don't use that word often, but he's a great NFL head coach. I believe Mike Vrabel, his name deserves to be in that conversation with the Andy Reids of the world, the Jim Harbaughs of the world, the Sean Paytons of the world, the Sean McVays of the world. Mike Vrabel's name deserves to be in that conversation. There was a lot of turmoil going on in New England in the offseason. It's the reason why Robert Kraft and the Patriots kept Mike Vrabel as their head coach. But I just feel like the Patriots were significantly overrated last season. They were overrated last year. And to me, the writing is clearly on the wall that this team will take a step backwards, and they won't be a team that we're going to consider a favorite to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Last year, it was clear that the Super Bowl was the NFC Championship game. The Rams, Seahawks, that was a Super Bowl last season. It wasn't the Patriots and Seahawks because it was clear that the Seahawks were a significantly better team than the Patriots were. And so I felt like last year, had the Broncos had Bo Nix, it would have been the Broncos representing the AFC and playing the Seahawks in the Super Bowl last season. The only reason why the Patriots were in the Super Bowl was because Bo Nix got injured against the Bills, and the Broncos, they had to start Jarrett Stidham. Okay, that's why the Patriots were in the Super Bowl last year. But even in that game, Drake May, he didn't perform well, which leads me to the other thing that I want to discuss when it comes to the Patriots. Last season, Drake May, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,394 passing yards, completing 72% of his passes. Drake May also finished second in NFL MVP voting. And I believe he had a terrific sophomore season in the regular season. But in the playoffs last year, I felt like Drake May did not play to his standard. And the standard that he had set in the regular season, he didn't play at that standard in the postseason. This is Drake May's stats in the regular season comparing to the postseason, right? In the regular season, Drake May, his touchdown to turnover ratio was 35-11. In the playoffs, it was 7-8. Drake May, in the regular season, he had 285 total yards per game. In the postseason, he had 252 total yards per game. Drake May, he completed 72% of his passes in the regular season. In the postseason, he completed 58% of his passes. In the regular season, Drake May, his passer rating was 113.5. In the postseason, it was 82.2. And the thing is, in the AFC playoff matchups, I believe the other quarterbacks that Drake May went up against, they just had worse playoff performances than he did. I mean, in the playoff win over the Chargers, Herbert couldn't even put together a touchdown drive. In the playoff win against CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, that Texans defense did everything they possibly could to help the Texans pull off an upset. But CJ Stroud turned into the worst quarterback in NFL history. And I didn't think Drake May played particularly well in that playoff win over the Texans. And then in the AFC Championship game, Drake May only had one touchdown drive. He only had one real touchdown drive. In the second half, it was a blizzard. And Drake May went up against Jarrett Stidham in the AFC Championship game. So in the AFC playoffs, I just feel like those other quarterbacks, they played terrible in Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, and Jarrett Stidham. And Drake May just had to manage the game for the Patriots. But in the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold outplayed Drake May. He outplayed Drake May. So I personally believe the Patriots as a football team were overrated, and Drake May as a quarterback was significantly overhyped and overrated as well. Now, I do believe Drake May has a lot of promise. I believe Drake May, heading into his third season in the NFL, he is the successor to Tom Brady in New England. Okay, let me be very, very clear. Drake May is a franchise quarterback that you can build your team around. But I just don't think Drake May proved enough last season to be ranked above quarterbacks like Jared Goff or Jordan Love or Baker Mayfield or Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts. I have to see more from Drake May in his third season in the NFL before I can say that Drake May is an elite quarterback. I think Drake May has a ton of promise. I think Drake May had a great sophomore season last year. He even had a better season than Caleb Williams because they hyped Caleb Williams as well. But I think Drake May had a better season last year than Caleb Williams had. But I still think Drake May has a lot of room for growth. Having A.J. Brown now as his number one receiver will help. And having Mike Vrabel as his head coach will also help him in his development as a quarterback. Okay? So I just think I got to see more from Drake May. But I think the Patriots will be on the outside looking in the playoffs picture once we get into January. And I do believe the Bills will win the AFC East. I think the Patriots will finish somewhere between 9-8, 8-9-ish, but they will not be a playoff team in the AFC. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. It was great to be back. Had an outstanding show. Man, I got to get out of here. I got to go watch some high school football. Got St. X playing against Lakota West tonight out there in Lakota. So I'm excited for that matchup. My boy Brian Westbrook is one of the coaches on that coaching staff for Lakota. So I'm going to go watch that game. And again, big shout out to the Princeton Vikings, man. Princeton beat Moeller last night, 31-24 at Paycor Stadium. And so the Princeton Vikings are the new kings of the block right now. The Vikings, they beat the Crusaders for the first time since 1991. The Crusaders had beaten the Vikings 19 straight times. So big shout out to the Princeton Vikings. Big shout out also to Vikings head coach Andre Parker. And big shout out to that entire Vikings coaching staff, man. Them boys got it done. Jordan Hall as well was balling, had 3 touchdowns for the Vikings last night. Big win for the Vikings, man. They start off the season 1-0. But everybody go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Follow Wise Guys Sports on all social media platforms. And also be sure to subscribe to the Wise Guys Sports Podcast on YouTube as well. And also go and follow C Gray Vision as well on all social media platforms. If you need videographer work, my boy CJ is the man to dial and the person to call for that. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. I'm Trey Larkins signing off, Wise Guys Sports.